something going in a different direction altogether are our friends from Lush. We haven't covered Lush up to this point. Um, were you familiar, Josh, with Lush as a band? I will share that I was.
No, I was not familiar with them.
Gotcha. As I listened to this, and it has since been co-signed by Matt. I
Yes.
said, Matt will love this album.
Yes.
And Matt shared an enthusiastic endorsement of this album. Least surprising take ever, right there. If we go off of history, this is an album that Matt is going to love, that I am going to love, and that you are going to be more lukewarm on. Where do you stand on this one, Josh?
Yeah, that's correct. I was.
Oh, okay.
I hate to be so stereotypical of my opinions, but yeah, that's ultimately where I ended up. Although there is things I liked about this album.
How do you think I felt about this album, Josh?
I feel like this is, right in your wheelhouse, and you probably, I don't know if you heard this album before, but I feel like this is a new favorite for you.
You pretty much nailed it, Josh. But go ahead. I'll let you do your take first.
Yeah, so Lush is a dream pop band. They've also been given the shoegaze label. I saw at times too. They're English, right? They're from they're from London, England as well. So it's all female or female fronted band at least. So you get that, which I actually find appealing, and I feel like that kind of works better for the shoegazy aspects of this. I find that kind of more palatable.
Well, there are no shortage of women in shoegaze. I will say that, or dream pop for that matter.
Right. But I think in terms of bands we've covered so far with that shoegaze label, I don't think there's been too many female-fronted ones. I could be wrong, but at least in regards to this album, I feel like that worked really well. So it's kind of still, I'm lukewarm because it has the same criticisms that I've had with other shoegaze and dream pop albums. They veer too much into the dreamy aspect of it. They have songs that one song that goes on kind of way too long for my liking, but that just kind of is reveling in the distortion and dreamy aspect of the song. I liked it more this. And they also, I guess, a good thing is that they kind of change guitar sounds throughout the album too, and there's definitely songs that I liked more depending on the guitar tone that they do. They kind of go for a more. I struggled to find out how to describe this, but it's almost kind of got like a more grungy sound to it. So tracks that I really liked were Kiss, Chase, Hypocrite, and Starlust. So almost like when their guitar, I don't know, maybe they're just more traditional sounding, like more pop oriented songs, but those guitar sounds on those and kind of their delivery worked for me more.
Well, you like when they don't become a dream pop band anymore.
Yeah.
Those are basically like when they wrote like traditional, like more like indie rock songs or alt rock songs.
Ultimately, I guess that's what it boils down to. The dream pop, dream pop is at this point for me is so kind of well defined, and I guess it's so easy. Like your analogy earlier, like I know it when I hear it. It's so like easy to pick out for me, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of deviation in terms of that sound. I mean, dream pop, it's called dream pop for a reason, right? So like either you're going to respond to that type of sound or you're not. There's no kind of like, I haven't found any kind of middle kind of gray area where it works for me, even though it's dream pop. Maybe Ride, but they're more shoegaze than dream pop. So that might not be a good example. But yeah, well, I mean, let's put some more positive spin on this album. What did you like about this, and what set it apart for you?
Yeah, see, I do see differentiation between the various dream pop. I think like you start with something like the Cocteau Twins, which is the pure heroine of the genre. It's like all dream all the time, and then shoegaze gives you the these slashing guitars. I like, to me there's a huge difference between like the Cocteau Twins and like My Bloody Valentine, for example. And there's a big difference between something like uh Galaxy 500, which is trying to be a little bit more esoteric, I
Yeah.
think, in its sound, and Ride is more minimalist, I think, in terms of its sound, or Slint, stuff like that. And this is sort of like when you take the dream pop sound and you funnel it through where rock was in 1994. In that way, I think it's similar to when The Cure get, the late 80s, right? The Cure, I think, veer into things that could be called dream pop sounding, right?
Yeah.
But they combine it sort of with pop music and goth, right? Like they bring those elements in it. And I think what Lush does is they take the dream pop lane and they put it with alternative rock, right? There's still
Yeah.
all the markings of dream pop. Sometimes they extend out the guitar parts. The vocals are sort of wispy, is the way I always describe it,
Yep.
and muted a little bit. Like I like you said, immediately vocally and sound wise that there's elements of dream pop in it once you listen to it
Right.
enough. But
And
this,
those things you gave are in here as well. It
yeah.
is muted. It is wispy for sure.
Well, just like punk rock has a guitar tone,
Yeah.
and ska has the backbeat, and all metal, has certain hallmarks. Dream pop has its hallmarks, but this one, and I thought you'd like this one better because it gave you a lot more red meat for what you like. There's more traditional guitar lines here.
Yeah.
There's definite breaks between the songs. Like one of the things that Matt and I love is that the dream pop kind of washes over you, and you can kind of have it just be there, or you could also, if you're listening carefully, see the differences in how they move tone and direction. And I haven't really talked at length about this on the podcast about what appeals to it for Matt and I. We both have talked about it gives us sort of like a good feeling. For me, I connect with it emotionally, and I can perceive the changes, also perceive my emotional connection to it, and I can pick them up. It doesn't sound all the same. I think for you it sounds maybe a little bit more samey, whereas I think it stays kind of 75% the same, but those small deviations are things that I pick up on nerve center wise. This one is not like that. There's clear delineations and differentiations. There's even like traditional choruses to some degree on some of these songs, guitar parts. And because of the fact that it's a different version of it, it appealed to me because I like different versions of stuff that I like. And it's a version of it. Alt rock mixed with dream pop is a positive combo for me because I like both of them. And let me start by saying, when I say alt rock, that's such a nebulous term, but I'd say 93, 94 alt rock. So it's got a little bit of the sensibilities in terms of the femaleness of it and the clearly feminine vocal singing. And at times that like the Riot Girl stuff comes in, even though guitar wise it's not nearly as sloppy or abrasive, right? There's still a warmness to it that dream pop always has. But yeah, and this album did not drag at all for me. I like the fact that there were these smaller pieces that were sort of like little pieces you connect it with, and then they would sort of go all in on a piece that was 7 minutes and 30 seconds. In the case of Desire Lines, a song I really, really like on this album. And then the other big piece was Never Ever, and they spaced them perfectly. It's like they kind of led you in, and then they let you lay in Love Life or Desire Lines for a while, and then they brought you out of it with a couple smaller pieces, and then they put you back in the mist, so to speak, and then finished it up with a couple other quicker pieces, 4-minute pieces where you're going. And I just really liked the way the album was laid out. I liked how the pieces came together, and I liked the fact that we got to see what happens when you take dream pop and you funnel it through a filter that was at least the olive branch to folks that might be prefer alternative rock. And it's like, okay, within this subgenre, this might be the version of it for you. And we talked earlier about within every subgenre, for me at least, there's stuff that represents a version of it that I like. I'll be honest, I thought this was going to be it for
Yeah.
you in dream pop, but I guess dream pop just doesn't have that. And maybe you're not like me. There's just certain things that are barriers entirely sonically for
Yep.
you, and that's okay if that's the case. But for me, it's a it's another in a list of 90s albums that I didn't listen to more than once or twice when they came out, and I listened to them, and then I get to listen to them 2 3 times, and they just immediately stand out. And so I don't know if even I always miss when Matt is not here, but I don't even know if we need Matt to be here because I think his take would be so similar to
Right.
mine
It
on
would
this.
be.
And I think we almost don't need to do too much dream pop anymore because I think we're almost becoming like a cliche at this point in terms of
Yeah.
like how we feel about it. Yeah.
And I don't like that aspect of it. I wish that I had a different take
Well,
on
we're
these
just as much a
albums.
cliche because we love all these albums.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, but I do want. There's got to be an album out there that has maybe there's just like a smidge of dream pop on an album, and that's what it'll be for me that I
Well,
like.
did you like the like Julie Cruz stuff and stuff like that, the like Twin Peaksy type music, or not so much?
It's okay. I don't.
Okay, yeah, you don't really.
I
Okay,
also don't really. Julie Cruz is so kind of unique. I don't even really call that dream pop because she's so indebted to like doo wop and like more traditional or
yeah,
old
I look
rock
at
and
her as
roll.
dream pop mused with like a nostalgic sort
Yeah.
of like 50s 60s thing. Yeah,
Yep.
but I
Yeah.
was wondering if that was the combination that was the version of it for you. But
Yeah. I don't know. We're still searching for what it's going to be, but yeah.
well, we're moving away from the era of dream pop, unfortunately, Josh. So now it's only going to resurface in terms of small bits and pieces, and it'll stay away till we get to like real estate and
Right.
beach house. Yeah,
Right.
and I don't think those are going to necessarily be your lane either. So
No, I have listened to Beach House back probably when they were new, but yeah, same thing. I mean, the dream pop never dies, right? It always either just lays fallow for a
the
bit.
dream never dies, Josh.
Or bands find it and take it with them. Just like the Cocteau Twins are eternal in some ways for people.
Perfect. Okay. Well, split right there. So I think for me, this is a pretty comfortable thumbs up. I'll just go ahead and give Matt's take because he did share with us on it
Oh,
that
right.
this is a comfortable thumbs up for him too.